that British-made Storm Shadow cruise missiles have been used on at least one target inside Russia.
Ukraine has fired the UK-supplied Storm Shadow missiles into Russia.
Ukraine is now using British Storm Shadow missiles against Russia.
December 25th, 2025, Christmas Day. While most of Europe celebrated, Ukrainian Su-24 Fencer bombers launched British-made Storm Shadow cruise missiles deep into Russia, striking the Novoshaktinsk oil refinery in Rostov Oblast, 300 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. According to Ukraine's general staff, precision strikes hit refining equipment worth tens of millions of dollars, cutting Russia's fuel production capacity just as winter operations intensified. Then, January 6, 2026, another refinery destroyed using Storm Shadows. The pattern wasn't random strikes. It was systematic economic warfare targeting Russia's ability to fund the invasion. What shocked UK defense officials wasn't just that Ukraine was using Storm Shadows effectively, it was how Ukraine was using them. According to Army recognition reporting from November 2025, Ukrainian strikes forced Russia to spend on dispersal, concealment, and reconstruction rather than offense. Exactly the strategic outcome Britain hoped for when supplying the missiles in May 2023. But Ukraine exceeded those expectations by developing targeting strategies British planners never taught, combining drone reconnaissance, partisan networks, hacked traffic cameras, and precision missile strikes into what experts call the most effective deep strike campaign since Desert Storm. First, understand what makes Storm Shadow special. According to Wikipedia and technical documentation, the missile weighs 1,300 kilograms with a 450 kilogram broach penetrator warhead specifically designed for hardened targets, bunkers, factories, command centers buried underground. It flies at Mach 0.8, approximately 1,000 kilometers per hour, using terrain-following navigation, staying below radar coverage at extremely low altitudes. The range is approximately 250 kilometers, meaning Ukrainian aircraft can launch from deep inside Ukrainian-controlled territory and hit targets across the Russian border without ever entering hostile airspace. According to Army recognition, Storm Shadow/Scalp, the French version, uses imaging IR guidance, infrared cameras that recognize targets visually, making them extremely accurate even when GPS is jammed. But here's the critical detail. Storm Shadow relies on classified US-owned cartographic data using terrain contour matching, or TERCOM, to navigate. According to Wikipedia, this gives the US government veto of any sales to foreign countries under international traffic in arms regulations. In other words, every Storm Shadow strike requires American approval of targeting data, meaning the US, UK, and France all must coordinate before Ukraine can launch. This created initial restrictions. When UK Defense Minister Ben Wallace announced Storm Shadow transfers on May 11, 2023,
today I can confirm that the UK is donating Storm Shadow missiles to Ukraine. Storm Shadow is a long-range, conventional-only precision strike capability. It complements the long-range systems already gifted, including HIMARS and Harpoon missiles, as well as Ukraine's own Neptune cruise missile and longer-range missions elsewhere gifted. The donation of these weapon systems gives Ukraine the best chance to defend themselves against Russia's continued brutality.
Ukraine insisted it would not use such weapons on Russian territory. That restriction was lifted November 20th, 2024, when Ukraine fired Storm Shadows into Russia for the first time, hitting an underground military facility in Matyino, Kursk Oblast. According to reporting, the strike allegedly killed Russian Lieutenant General Valery Solochuk and other officers, including North Korean troops, though Russia never confirmed losses. Ukraine's targeting strategy revealed genuine strategic brilliance. Instead of wasting limited Storm Shadows on tactical military targets, Ukrainian planners identified Russia's economic vulnerabilities, specifically oil refineries funding Moscow's war machine. According to Euromaidan Press reporting from October 2025, Storm Shadow's effectiveness lies in their combination of range, precision, and payload. With a 450 kilogram warhead, possibility to penetrate and then explode, and a range of 250 kilometers, they are made for taking down hardened targets like factories, bunkers, and depots, objectives that long-range drones cannot destroy completely. The December 25th Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery strike exemplified this approach. Unlike drones, which can damage but rarely completely destroy industrial facilities, Storm Shadow's penetrating warhead explodes inside refining equipment, destroying machinery that takes months or years to replace. According to Kyiv Post, Ukraine's strategy enables precision strikes inside Russia, specifically to curb Moscow's oil revenues. The January 6, 2026 follow-up strike demonstrated systematic targeting. According to Kyiv Post, this was part of Ukraine's expanded campaign hitting key Russian refinery targets repeatedly to degrade fuel production capacity. Each successful strike forces Russia to choose: spend billions reconstructing refineries or accept reduced fuel production affecting military operations. But Ukraine's effectiveness created a supply problem. According to Euromaidan Press, usage has been intense, with Ukrainian sources acknowledging that by early 2025, stocks were nearly depleted. The UK initially supplied dozens of Storm Shadows starting May 2023. France provided approximately 50 Scout missiles by mid-2023, then President Macron pledged about 40 more in January 2024. That wasn't enough. Ukraine was burning through Storm Shadows faster than anyone anticipated because they were proving devastatingly effective. According to reporting, successful strikes included November 20th, 2024, underground facility Mariino, Kursk, general killed. October 22nd, 2025, Russian chemical plant inside Russia. December 25th, 2025, Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery, Rostov Oblast. January 6, 2026, another key Russian refinery. Each strike validated the weapon's effectiveness and created urgent demand for more. By early 2025, Ukraine's deep strike capability faced potential collapse due to ammunition shortages. What happened next shocked the defense industry. According to Wikipedia and MBDA announcements, on July 10, 2025, MBDA announced it was, quote, resuming production of Scalp/Storm Shadow missiles in 2025, some 15 years since receiving the last order. The last Storm Shadow order was placed around 2010. Production lines had been cold for over a decade. Why restart? Ukraine proved the weapon works. According to Bloomberg reporting from November 3, 2025, the UK government recently resupplied Ukraine with more Storm Shadow cruise missiles, specifically to enable Kyiv to continue its campaign of long-range strikes inside Russia. According to Army Recognition, production at plants in Britain and France resumed this summer after a 15-year pause. The production scale reveals commitment. According to Euromaidan Press, output is now ramping up from an initial 10 to 20 missiles per month to a projected up to 50 by 2026, ensuring a steady supply for Ukraine's growing deep strike arsenal. That's 600 missiles annually once full production is reached, a major industrial commitment driven entirely by Ukrainian battlefield success. On July 9, 2025, Britain and France unveiled, quote, strengthened defense industrial accord under the Entente Industrielle, a formal agreement to bolster Europe's missile stockpiles and develop next-generation Storm Shadow with upgraded propulsion, stealth features, and AI-enabled multi-mode guidance. But the real genius wasn't individual strikes, it was the strategic effect. According to Army Recognition analysis, Ukrainian Storm Shadow strikes, quote, forced Russia to spend on dispersal, concealment, and reconstruction rather than offense. Think about that calculus. Every oil refinery Ukraine destroys costs Russia 50 to 100 plus million to rebuild, and months of lost production. Every command center hit forces Russian generals to disperse headquarters, degrading command and control efficiency. Every ammunition depot destroyed forces Russia to build more depots further from the front, increasing logistics burden. According to Euromaidan Press, Ukraine combined Storm Shadow strikes with other intelligence methods. Ukrainian intelligence tracked Russian reinforcement convoys through hacked traffic cameras and partisan networks before launching precision strikes that eliminated dozens of high-ranking officers. This isn't just firing missiles blindly. It's systematic, intelligence-driven targeting that multiplies effectiveness. Storm Shadows hit targets drones can't destroy. Drones provide real-time battle damage assessment, confirming Storm Shadow strikes succeeded. Together, they create layered, deep strike capability no Russian air defense can fully stop. The numbers tell the story. According to Defense Secretary John Healey's statements through 2025, the UK maintained high-tempo Storm Shadow deliveries without ever publishing exact quantities for operational security. France was more specific, roughly 50 by mid-2023, another 40 in January 2024, plus Macron's pledge of several hundred bombs accompanying scalp packages. But usage statistics reveal intensity. By early 2025, less than 2 years after first delivery, stocks were nearly depleted, according to Ukrainian sources. If Ukraine exhausted approximately 100 to 150 Storm Shadows in under 2 years, that's roughly one major strike per week, an operational tempo unprecedented for precision cruise missiles. For comparison, the US fired approximately 800 Tomahawk cruise missiles during the entire 23 Iraq invasion. Ukraine burned through significant Storm Shadow stockpiles in ongoing operations while inflicting strategic damage that justified restarting production lines idle for 15 years. The July 2025 UK-France Accord signals Storm Shadow's future. According to Army recognition, the next generation system aims to tackle the anti-access/area denial A2/AD challenges that have emerged starkly in Ukraine, where Russian layered air defenses have tested the limits of legacy cruise missiles. The upgraded version will feature AI-enabled multi-mode guidance, adaptive targeting that adjusts in flight, upgraded propulsion, potentially longer range, enhanced stealth, better penetration of Russian S-400/S-500 air defenses. According to the official UK government statement, the program underscores London and Paris's resolve to maintain credible strike power while preserving the industrial backbone that safeguards Europe's strategic autonomy. Ukraine's battlefield success validated the concept. Now Britain and France are investing billions to ensure future conflicts have adequate stockpiles. When Ben Wallace announced Storm Shadow transfers May 2023, he framed them as calibrated, proportionate response to Russia's escalation. The expectation, Ukraine would use them sparingly on high-value military targets, perhaps degrading Russian logistics moderately. Instead, Ukraine developed systematic economic targeting, intelligence fusion with partisan networks, and strike planning that forced production line restarts. According to Army recognition, for Britain and France, each new delivery is more than a battlefield input. It signals durable demand for deep strike munitions, validates MBDA's production restart, and pushes suppliers of explosives, actuators, seekers, and turbojets to expand capacity. Ukraine transformed Storm Shadow from niche weapon to strategic necessity, forcing European defense industries to rebuild capabilities they'd abandoned. That's genius, making your suppliers realize they need you as much as you need them. Do you think Ukraine's deep strike campaign will force Russia to negotiate? Share your thoughts. Subscribe for more battlefield innovation analysis. Thanks for watching.